Matchmakers spill on their male clients' most delusional requests. Out of line with reality. So before we get into this, here's my prediction. Men have gotten so sick of 3s and 4s having the attitudes of a 10 that they pretty much just gave up and said, well, if we're going to have to put up with this attitude, we're only going to accept this from a 10. So, all right, let's go. I only want to hook up with 10s now, which is the opposite of where things have been going, because I mentioned years ago at the dawn of my channel that I kept noticing the high value men with relatively mid to low value women. And I couldn't figure it out. Like, why is this guy who'd probably be like at least a 9, if not a 10, why is he with a 3? Like, what's going on here? I know he could do better than that. And then I figured it out. Like, the reason they were doing that was because these guys got sick and tired of the attitudes that the 9s and 10s had. And so back in the day, the 3s, 4s, 5s, and 6s, etc., the girl next door types, they actually had decent attitudes. When they saw a high value guy giving them attention, yeah, they knew they were lucky. But what do you think happened to their attitudes after more than a decade of getting attention from 9s and 10s? Yeah, now we're in a timeline where 3s, 4s, 5s, and 6s have the attitudes of a 10. They've grown entitled. They expect a perfect 10 guy now. And now what's left for the men to do? What else can they turn to? They can either stop dating altogether and go MGTOW, they could go 2D, or if they're still dating, and this is my prediction in this article, they're like, if all these women have that same attitude anyway, I'm not putting up with that attitude from any lower than a 10. So I'm going to lay out all of my requirements early, and if you don't meet them, tough. I'm just going to move on because I'm not putting up with your attitude. So let's see if I'm right. Some men are taking hold of their love lives through matchmakers have lost a grip on reality. Payback's a bitch, ain't it? Yeah, I knew when I saw this article I had to cover it because, be honest, guys, I usually cover the opposite, do I not? Like, women being delusional, women having unrealistic expectations. Now the guys are starting to reciprocate, and it's getting funny. So matchmaking clients need to know qualities they seek in a partner, but some men have their sights set on the impossible. A woman with a body count of less than 10? I did look ahead a little bit for that one, so no, I'm not Nostradamus. Full disclosure. Now, that's according to dating experts who recently spoke to Daily Mail. Matchmaker Blaine Anderson went to Twitter to put her straight male client's body count request on blast. Men sometimes say stuff like body count under 10 on my matchmaking application. Like, bro, you think I would ask a woman that? Look, the fact that you won't already kind of proves you're not really, like, you don't really provide much value for this job. Do you think a woman would tell me that? Now, this is true. This is absolutely true. Now, if she opened with this, I think she would have actually gotten a lot of support. Like, yeah, these guys are asking for a body count under 10. Do you really think a woman would be honest about that? Like, do you think I have any way to legitimately figure that out? Like, no, I can't do that. I'm not a psychic. I might be a psycho, but I'm not a psychic. Now, you think a woman would answer honestly if she did tell me that? Good question. The Oscar-based coach Ashley concluded her query with a crying and laughing emoji and the acronym for "Get the fuck out." It's true. I don't actually fault that logic. I'm with her on that. Founder of Dating by Blaine continued a matchmaking memorandum for the Daily Mail, adding that she would never take on a client who was requesting a specific body count. And that's fair enough, actually. If you take requests and someone asks a request that's impossible, you say no. Like, no, sorry, I can't do that. Find someone else. Maybe you'll have better luck with one of my competitors. But I can't meet that request. The type of guy who thinks I'd ask a woman her body count isn't someone I'd trust on dates. Yeah, and that's where it's fallen apart again. Well, all these clueless women, they still can't figure out why guys are walking away. It's partially because of things like this. Having quirky interest in a request can sometimes be a great way to narrow the playing field, per Anderson, but too many potential clients approach her with expectations that are out of line with reality. They're preoccupied with superficial or irrelevant traits, she said. Oh, so now you're talking about women, right? No, of course not. Yeah. Men having standards, whether possible or not, is always a bad thing. Women, though, no, that's fine. That's fine. Or Carly and Janice Spindle of Sears Matchmaking in New York City agreed that male clients tend to have very specific criteria for a girlfriend, with some looking to fulfill their lifelong fantasies. We actually just got a 17-paragraph list from a man that we were yelling at him on a Zoom, and he was literally delusional with how ridiculously specific he was. Now, without knowing the specifics, I have to once again, I think I'll actually side with the matchmakers on this one. It's not like these matchmakers have access to every woman on the planet. So if you come up with a 17-paragraph list of specifics, yeah, they're probably thinking, yeah, I got like one woman who meets 10% of that, but that's the best we got. Well, yeah, I think the dudes are just trolling. Now, that's entirely possible. Like some of these dudes are probably legitimately just sick and tired of the attitude, and they're like, fine, I could do this too. But others, yeah, they're probably just like, yeah, let's just have some fun with this. You know what? It doesn't hurt to ask. So wouldn't it be hilarious if this guy that gave his 17-paragraph list of specifics, if they actually found someone who met them all? It might happen. I mean, the chances are non-zero. It's worth a shot. Unless you like just to troll you, unless you put in some intentionally contradictory specifics, like she has to be over 5 feet tall and also under 5 feet tall. You know, there might be things like that in there that would make it literally impossible, but provided there's none of that, it's worth the ask. Oh, daughter Carly added, one client wanted a woman who lived in Paris because he was a Francophile who loved the romance of Paris. Yeah, go passport, bro, dude. Although at this point, you may as well go to Africa. You'll find the same women there. While they're happy to heed basic requests, including age preferences and certain physical traits, the Spindles ask men to relax on certain signals of status, naming academic requirements as one of the most irrelevant requests they get. Now, do they do the same thing for women? Like, if women require a guy to have a master's degree and a 6-figure job, do they also kick back when women have requests like this? I bet they don't. Now, I do agree that academic requirements are irrelevant, but do you handle this equally? Shit, man, we're living in an era where a guy could just say, I want a woman who has a good attitude and isn't fat and can cook. I think if I showed up to a matchmaker with those requirements, I bet I would be getting made fun of for having unrealistic expectations. Like, literally, like that's it. I just want a woman with a pleasant attitude who's not fat and can do household chores. That's too much in current year, I bet. When you're 60 plus and she's 50 plus, we question them if the institution of a degree is relevant, Carly said. Wait, if you're 60 plus, why the fuck are you even looking for a, like, dude, stop it. Get some help. Scott Valdez, founder of Vita Select, said his clients get incredibly specific about what their future partner looks like, right down to the exact bra cup size. Yeah, again, man, if they're going to have to put up with bad attitudes, it's only going to be from whoever's they view as perfection. I think that's pretty fair in its own right. So one particular memorable client was fixated on finding someone who looked exactly like a dancer he'd seen at an upscale club. The level of detail in these requirements can be quite surprising. Have you considered finding out who that dancer is and asking her? Now, I say that knowing full well that that relationship is probably going to end in a dumpster fire. But if that's what you want, I mean, you have the example right in front of you, kind of. All right, the Atlanta-based matchmaker also bemoaned older men who seek much younger women, yet specifically request their wealth not be a significant factor. Yeah, that is kind of stupid. Like, if you're like 60 and you're looking for a 20-year-old and you think that she's going to love you for you and not your money, that's what we call delusional right there. So, yeah, there are some men that are actually delusional too, to be fair. It's fascinating to see this combination of wanting youth and beauty while hoping money isn't part of the equation. Now, I guess like there are some women who have an older man fetish. Like, just like there's men who have gilf fetishes. There are definitely women who are similar. Well, your odds of finding one of those who legit has that fetish as opposed to just wants you for your money, you pretty much have no chance of that. But whatever. If you're just trolling, you know what? Uh, how awesome of a story would that make? That you were just trolling some matchmakers and they happened to find your exact match, and you actually ended up being happy together. Wouldn't that make a great story in the future? It's like, man, I was just fucking around, and then I got introduced to your mom, and things were great. Probably not going to happen, but it'll be funny if it did. Yeah, wallet fetish. Yeah, that's what most of these women have, actually. Yeah, it's the wallet fetish. It's the start of an anime or rom-com. Yeah, sadly, I know these plots very rarely, if ever, happen in real life, but it's funny imagining the possibilities.